everyone, this is I don't even know what my intro is going to be anymore. But today what we're going to be doing is we are going to be building my brand new computer. Now over the past few weeks I've actually been saving up quite a lot of money to the point where now I have a relative amount, I'm not going to say exactly how much, but my budget is around about the 400 mark, which, well, is a bit cheap, but it's the cheapest that I can afford, so shut up. Anyway, so today what we're going to do is we are going to build it. So I'm not entirely sure where I want to go. I don't know whether I want to go Intel or AMD. I'm currently on an Intel system, which would make sense to stick with Intel, but AMD have cornered the market with their brand new CPUs, even though Intel are trying to catch them with the 10th gen. But they're not going to do that because AMD are coming out with 4th gen. So I think Intel are on the slope. But what we're going to do is, if I go into my saved parts list, as you can see, I have got various different builds that I have compiled over the past few weeks, which I'm not sure about any of them at the moment. So we're going to ignore that, and we're going to build a completely new we're going to build two systems basically. So we're going to build an AMD system and an Intel system. So let's get it done. So first off, we're going to stick with the CPU, and by the way, this is going to be one full video, no edits at all. So this could be fun. So what we're going to start off with is we're going to go to the price, and we're going to stick with 100 because that is just about. In fact, what we're going to do is we're going to go to 150 actually. So this opens us to a bunch of different CPUs. We've got i5s, we've got Ryzen 3s, we've got Ryzen 5s, we've got i5s, we've got various different CPUs here. So the cheapest I'd like to go to is somewhere between the 60 and 90 mark. The most expensive, 110 to 120. So the more expensive I go with the CPU, the cheaper I have to go with the motherboard. That's how this is going to have to work. So I'm looking at a kind of medium range CPU. I don't care about how many cores it's got. The core clock I don't care about either, as long as it's over 2.4 gigahertz. Which, let's be fair, most of them are. In fact, nearly all of them are. So I don't care about the TDP either. The microarchitecture I don't care about either. Nor about the core family, I don't care about any of that. The sockets, not so much either. Because when you go with, say, i3s and i5s, you go with the LJ1155 socket, which will open you up to majority of the CPUs anyway, aside from 10th gen, because obviously Intel brought out a new motherboard for that. So as long as you don't go with 1150 or 755 or 2066, you're pretty much alright with 1155 because it opens you up to a lot of different CPUs. Same with AMD. When you go with the AMD AM4 chip, AM4 socket, you're opening yourself up to almost every CPU aside from 3rd gen, 4th gen even. So yeah. Oh no, wait, 4th gen is still on AM4. Yeah, never mind. So you're still working on the same CPU socket. So you're going to be doing well there. Aside from the new B550 motherboards, which only support 4th gen non-APUs, so yeah, you're not going to be so stuck there. So I'm still looking at this, and I'm not entirely. So now look at that. i3 10100, which is only 138, but let's not go there. Wow, Threadripper 1900X, huh? No, that's not good there. Okay, let's stick with the Ryzen 3 1200 for now. So that is a quad-core processor. Let's go to the motherboard now, and let's go with 100. Now remember, we have a budget of 400, so I want to try and keep it as cheap as possible, but I also need to have some money left, so we're not going to go overboard. So, my main criteria for the motherboard is I don't entirely mind if it's micro ATX or ATX, because the case is going to support it no matter what. I wanted to have at least one M.2 slot, which majority of the boards I've looked at already have, and let's face it, most of them do anyway, unless you want to go as low as, say, A320M. So, yeah. Although the A320 boards still do have M.2 slots, but the further you go down, the less likely they are, obviously. So, I also want two PCIe slots, two PCIe by 16 slots, mainly because I have a graphics card and I have a network card, which I might be buying a new one, because, well, mine works, but I'd like an upgrade. So, my other criteria is SATA slots. Now, obviously, every motherboard will have a SATA slot, unless you go so old that it's got IDE, which don't ever go that. Just don't ever do that. So, I don't really mind where the SATA ports are, but I would like them to not face up. I'd like to face to the side, because it makes it easy in terms of cable management, so it doesn't look messy. So, looking at mainly B450, because I feel like those are the best boards, although this one looked good. The Asus EX A320M Gaming. Let's have a look at this. Okay, so that's already out of the that's already out of it, even though the SATA ports, there's 3 by here and there's 1 by there. Now, it does look good. I mean, I love the red accents on it, especially on the VRM heatsink by here, but it only has one. I think that's a, oh no, wait, that is by 16 slot, never mind. But it only has one of them, where we do have a by 4 slot, I think that is. That's a by 1, but we got the M.2 slot by here, so that's already out of it. U450 Gaming X. Let's have a look at this one. That looks very promising. So we have one M.2 slot by here, and we have 2 SATA, 2 SATA, 2 SATA, so we got 6 SATA slots. The VRM is very nice on this as well. So we got one X16 slot and another X16 slot right there, so that's already a potential. Now this is going to cost £84, so for now we're going to go with that one, for now. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to click on this and I'm going to edit, I'm going to save it to favorites, just so we don't forget it. So we have spent £135 at this time, so the next thing we want to go to is memory. Now I'm already buying a 4 gig stick from my friend, so we don't need to worry about getting a set of 2 4 gigs, so we only need one 4 gig stick. So if I go down to the modules and we select that, one 4 gig stick. Now, see, the thing is with RAM is that you don't need to go with the same make of RAM stick. You can mix Team Force with, not Team Force, yeah, Team Force. You can mix, like, I don't know why I'm trying to name makes of RAM when it's, like, literally on the screen for me. So you don't really, yeah, I can't get my words out. So with RAM sticks, it doesn't matter what you mix up in terms of the make. You can mix up Corsair with Kingston or G.Skill with Crucial. It doesn't matter. The one thing that does matter is the form factor, the type, and the speed. Now, in terms of the form factor, obviously you've got 288 pins, which is the normal DIMMs. Then you've got 244, which is SO-DIMM, which is laptop memory. And that's it, actually. Hold on, let me have a look, just to make sure I haven't. Okay, so it's not 240, it's not 244, it's 240. So you can get SO-DIMM as well. So, yeah. Anyway, point is, it doesn't matter as long as you get the speed, the form factor, and the type right. It just doesn't matter. So, the RAM that I'm going to be getting is Crucial Ballistics LPX 2400 MHz. So, it is that, I believe. In fact, yes it is. So we're going to go with this. Now that costs £23, which isn't too bad at all. So that's going to cost us £158 altogether. And obviously when we complete this, I might sort out the CPU again, just to see if we can upgrade and do all that. So the next thing we're going to go with is storage. Now, with storage, it doesn't matter what you go with, as long as you've got enough to A, support the OS, which anything above 120 will do that, and B, you've got to have games and applications. So the best thing you want to go for is a 500 gig SSD. Now, I know some of you might call that overkill, but, I mean, you're fine to go with like 250, but 500 gig is like the sweet spot. You don't need like 1 terabyte or anything over that for the OS drive. You don't need that much. You only need, say, 250 or 500. I prefer 500 because it opens you up to be able to save applications and games on that hard drive as well, SSD even. But with my system now, because on my 500 gig hard drive, yes, I know I'm still using hard drive, shut up. That's why I'm going with an SSD for this. I've got all my applications and all my games on one drive. So with this, I'm going to split it up. So I'm going to have the OS and applications on my OS drive, and then I'm going to have the games on a separate one. So for my OS, I'm going to go with an M.2. So for this, we're going to take this down to 50, and we're going to look at the M.2 drives. In fact, I'm going to single that out. So there's different types of M.2 drives. You've got 2042, you've got 2080, 2280, and you've got 22110. Now, since I have absolutely no clue what the difference is between them all, I'm just going to select them all. So as you can see, we have got a wide selection of M.2 slots, M.2 drives. So they're all ranging from, say, 120 to 250. Well, 256. So we are going to select the cheapest. Now again, I don't care about the storage. So we are going to go with sorry, pardon me. Pardon me. Alright, we're going to go with this 250 gig drive, which costs £43. Now that's going to leave us with 201, that's not bad. So next thing then, we're going to go with a normal SSD. Now, I already have mine picked out, so here it is. It costs £30, which is the Kingston A400. And it's a 240 gig SSD, which I don't really care about. So now that gives us £229, which gives us another 190 to play around with. No, 170 to play around with. Now the next thing is we're going to go with a case. We're not going to go with video card because I already have one. So next I'm going to go with case. Now I already have one favorited. Now this is the Game Max Muted. Now the reason why I'm going with this one is because if we zoom in on it, as you can see, we've got a power supply shroud, which is always a good thing in terms of cable management. Because with the case I've got right now, the power supply goes at the top, which I don't really like because you can see it and you can see the cables. So I don't really like it. So that actually hides the cables. So next thing we got these cable grommets, which will actually make it again easier for cable management. So you can have the 24-pin ATX connector coming out from this one or from this one, doesn't really matter. You can have the SATA cables and front panel connectors coming out from this one, and the 4 or 8 pin EPS connector coming out from this one. Then you've got room for AIO mounting, and up here as well I believe. You've got SATA mounts as well by here. I don't think we have vertical PCIe slots, expansion slots. It looks like we've only got horizontal, which doesn't matter. We have support for a micro ITX, an ATX, and a micro ATX motherboard in here as well, so that's decent. So if we zoom back out, the front panel on it is decent. It's got a nice design to it, and if we look from the side, we've got an acrylic side panel with some nice legs on the bottom as well. So we've got a little bit of airflow coming from the bottom as well. Now from the back, we've got hard drive bays, we've got an actual power supply bay as well, which I've already mentioned, and we've got good cable management as well. So the back, oh yeah, we do have 2 vertical expansion slots, so that's good. Although unfortunately we are going to have to use a PCIe browser card for that, so just a little warning. And we've got vertical power buttons, which I don't have on my case, so that'd be a good thing. So yes, that will be the case that we're going to go with, which cost £41. Ouch. So at the end of that, we've got £264 minus the shipping. So we have, yeah, £264. So we have quite a lot of money to work with there. So what we're going to do is, I'm actually going to look at a power supply as well. because I don't know whether or not mine's gonna stand. Alright, let's have a look at this one, the EVGA-BR, which costs £48. Let's have a look at modular power supplies. Now the difference between modular, full, and semi-modular is that zero modulation on the power supply means that all the cables cannot be detached. They're all fixed in. Semi, some cables are, some cables aren't. And fully modular is that you can take out all the cables and decide which ones you're going to plug in, which makes it easier. So we're going to go and look at fully modular. Okay, it costs a lot more than I thought. Okay, let's have a look at semi-modular. If I can find it. There we go. No. There it is. Oh, that looks good for 73. Oh, that also looks good for... In fact, let's go with that one. Okay, so now we are working with 329. No, in fact, let's get rid of the power supply and let's have a look at a better CPU we can get. So we're looking at £264, so if we get rid of that and look at the CPU, so we've got, if I back out of here and look at the price, we've got £213. So I'd say we've got, okay, yeah. So the motherboard M.2 slot #1 shares bandwidth with the SATA 6 gigabit ports. When the M.2 slot is populated with a PCIe based M.2 drive, which I do not have, two SATA 6 gigabit ports are disabled, so I don't need to worry about that. So let's have a look at the CPU. So obviously we can go a little bit further now. So let's see. We could look at this one, 111, the Ryzen 5 1600, 310, not bad. So let's have a look at. So this is a 12 nanometer processor. It's a 6 gigahertz processor. So let's have a look. That's on Amazon Prime. That is very good. Good, good. We can afford it. Okay, so that looks like that is going to be the system we might choose. Now we're working with 310. So next thing we need to look at is whether it's all available on Amazon Prime, because I'm not paying shipping. Prime, 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 Prime. Good. Okay, that bodes well. So the next one we're going to look at is if we save this, I'm going to call it my 95% potential build. Okay, next thing we're going to look at is if I go to System Builder and we start anew, next thing we're going to go with is Intel. Because I said at the beginning of the video we're going to do both, so that's why. So if we look at Intel, now the cheapest CPU that's decent that we can look at is the 9100F, which is only a 4-core, but oh well, it's got a 3.6 GHz core clock with a 4.2 boost, so that's not bad. So let's go straight away with the i3 9100F, so that's £61 already. Let's look at the motherboard. Now I have this one favorited, which it actually looks like a decent motherboard actually. See, now it fits all the criteria that we want. It's got 2 PCIe slots, we've got an M.2 slot, in fact we've got 2 M.2 slots. And look at that VRM heatsink. Plus look at the SATA slots. It's just brilliant. So that is the B365M chipset, so we're going to go with that one. See, we're already working on 136. So looking at memory, again, we don't actually need to worry about getting anything more. So we're going to go to... there we are. It's degrade that to 50. And let's also choose, no, not 1.8, 1.4. That's the one we want. So we're going to go with the same storage, obviously. Well, not the same storage, but close enough. Okay, we're going to go with this one. 202, not bad. And let's get the SSD. 230. Case, obviously we're going to go with the same one. 264. Wow. Now, see, the problem is that we've saved a lot of money with Intel, but with AMD it costs more because we've gone with the higher processor. With Intel we can't do that because the higher you go up, the more expensive they get, which is the same with AMD. But the differences between Intel and AMD, Intel have always focused on price over performance, whereas AMD have always focused on performance over price. Hence why AMD have always been the better bargain. But if you want to go with performance, and well, for higher expenses, you'll go with Intel. But yeah, that looks to be, again, we're going to go with 95% potential to build Intel based. Okay, so I want you guys to tell me in the comment section which one you think I should go for. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the links to both lists in the description of this video, just so you guys can have a look at it for yourselves. And I want you guys to build me a PC based on the £400 budget, and if you can do that, I'll take a look at them on video and we'll decide from there. Anyway guys, if you enjoyed this video, if you did, leave a like and show your support by subscribing to the channel. So I shall see you in the next one. See ya!